This is the story about All or Nothing's champion Murk. Murk's story begins from Australia. Dog guy in Australia had paid a visit in the 80s, went to different famous American dog people's yards, Katie Marlowe, James Garrett, just to name a few, and went back to Australia with some American stock. Um, and Mike developed a friendship with this guy, and he sent three stud dogs over to Mike by plane. Back then, it was a lot easier to send a dog by plane than now. A lot of things have changed. Three males. One was Mike's most famous and favorite stud dog, Indy, which was Double Peaches. One was Stomper, Bear to Peaches. Bear was a daughter of Rascal to Jeep. The third was Batman. Batman was off of STP's Champion Tag to Peaches. Champion Tag was off of STP's Champion Toro. Batman chewed out of his carrier and chewed into another carrier and dragged one out. Caused so much chaos they had to land the plane mid-flight. Well, eventually the dogs made it to the States, and at the time Mike had a partner in Georgia. Batman was bred to a dog named Sissy. Sissy was off of Garrett's Little Red Boy to Champion Scar Baby. This produced a dog named Ataman. Well, Ataman was purchased by by these a friend of mine in Brooklyn, New York, and they gave the dog the name Murk. Murk developed a pretty big name for himself in New York. Uh, to speed it up a little bit, Murk was bred one time, and he produced a very impressive two-time winner named Black Boy. Well, the guys that had purchased Murk decided it was time to get out the dogs, and they didn't want anybody to have Murk. Their plan was to put Murk down. Well, a friend of mine, not a dog man, but a good friend, and his name was respected in the streets. He went to them and told them, instead of putting Murk down, let me get Murk. They they had no problem with letting me get Murk under one condition, that the owner of Murk's son doesn't breed to him. I honored it because I respected them. Murk died at 5 years old of cancer of the kidneys. And years went by. I left New York, moved to Alabama. I get a phone call from the same guy that had that son of Murk named Black Boy. It turns out that Black Boy had two offspring. One was by the name of Buck Boy, which was bred to Champion Sissy, who was a daughter of Morocco. The other was a daughter of Black Boy to Mike Wilder's blood, named Smiley. He bred Buck Boy to Smiley, and this guy had called me in Alabama trying to get some of Mike's blood. And the conversation didn't go too good at first because me and this guy kind of butted heads back in the day, especially because the guys who told me not to let Merc breed to him, we kind of after of me telling him how I feel, he rolled it all off and asked me about Mike's blood. And then I told him I got Mike's blood, and I really asked him, if he got any of that, and he told me about the breeding that was made with Buck Boy and Smiley. Well, we made a trade. I gave him heavy rascal breeding, and he in turn gave me Murk. Murk came to me when he was just 10 weeks old, and I knew right away he was special. Not because of him being overly aggressive. I can't really explain it. I just felt it that this dog was destined to be great, and I named him Murk. And I called my mentor, Mike Wilder, told him the full story, and I also asked Mike to make me a promise. Murk, if I did a liver transplant for my father, and I went into the hospital, wasn't sure if I was going to make it out, and I asked Mike, if I don't make it, do me a favor, you make sure that this puppy I named Murk, that he makes at least champion. Well, after me being in the hospital for 2 months, I was able to cover, and lo and behold, by Merck's first show was at 2 years old. Relatively easy. He scratched that. He scratched so hard, he knocked the handler out the box. First one went 36 minutes. Second show, very formidable opponent. Really tough competition, especially in that area. Dog had a reputation, and he lived up to it. However, Merck being what Merck was, he was able to be defensive, yet go offensive. The the competition wound up picking up in 120. Unfortunately, they waited too long to fit the dog up, and the next day the dog passed. For number and For the second show, a friend of mine was there. R.I.P. to Big Q. For those in Louisiana, might remember Big Q, and he had a cousin that you might remember that went by Ice. They were known for a dog named Grand Champion Kaiser Soze, Grand Champion Barilla, Hot Mouth, two-time winner. Well, Big Q told me that he was at the Rebel Kennel Samson Ken Allen's Inc. show, and he told me that he feels Merck would have beat Samson. And for me, that was a great honor because my mentor, Mike Wilder, told me he felt Samson was one of the best big dogs he's ever seen. For number three, Merck had a layover because I was trying to get into, really a well-known animal. And for whatever reason, RIP to Big Q, he helped. Nothing ever materialized. But I don't know if it was fate or just whatever reason meant to be. But someone that was at the show, at Merck's second show, felt they had one that could whoop Merck. And for that whole year of me trying to find a big name, this person was telling everybody, and me included, that to stop running and take this ass whooping. And eventually I gave in. I realized that for whatever reason, I'm not going to get the big name. And I still was my plan to make Merck the champion. I was very confident that I could. And for number three, Merck performed incredible. He did everything that you would want a dog to do. And I'd like to add this, just because that guy was talking shit, telling me I was running. He was a real dog man. Much respect to him. I don't take it personal. He knows who he is. To this day, we got mutual respect. Good dude. Shout out to him. After number three, I decided to retire Merc. The family really liked Merc as a dog. He was, uh, everybody liked him in the house. This would be considered a part two, I guess. Merck's stud career. Merck was an amazing stud dog. Produced many, many winners, a couple of champions, a couple of numerous 1 and 2 time winners. To this day, Merck has grandkids that are champions. An amazing dog. None of it would have been possible without Mike Wilder, a great teacher, a great friend. For those who are lucky enough to have the relationship with Mike, could relate to what I'm saying. There were a lot of parties involved in Merck's success. I'm not going to go into names for obvious reasons, but I'd like to say for all those that were involved in Merck's success, thank you. For those who continue on with this blood, you know what it is, and we all are very grateful to Mike Wilder. And I also like to add a special thanks to Hellcat for putting up this platform, for allowing me and other dogmen to share these stories. Again, this is a story about All or Nothing's champion Merck. Hope you enjoyed it.